Hi, movie debut here. Today I am going to explain a Korean thriller film called Everyone is There. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. Lisa is a bashful and shy 16-year-old. In the opening scene, she is running down a cliff in the middle of the woods. Her clothes are torn and her face is covered in injuries. Suddenly, she trips on a stair and falls several feet below. With her remaining energy, she begs someone for help and falls unconscious. In the following scene, Lisa is in the hospital. The harshness of her injuries is clearly visible in broad daylight. Fortunately, a bypasser found her in the woods and brought her to the hospital. Outside, two policemen are discussing the case. Judging by the previous bullying reports, the cops are sure that Lisa was bullied by the girls of her school. But before advancing the case, they will have to get an official allegation from Lisa. They have also tried to contact Lisa's parents, but it turns out that her mother died a few years ago and her father is overseas. He is not involved in her life and doesn't care even if she dies. When she regains consciousness, the head police detective, Mr. Kim, introduces himself. He asks her several questions about her health and the incident that happened yesterday, but Lisa remains quiet throughout the interrogation. They are interrupted by her homeroom teacher, Miss Lee. She urges the officer to go away and let the girl rest for a while. Malice is clear in her motive when she tries to stop Lisa from giving away who actually did this to her. Mr. Kim then notices three middle-aged women in the doorway. They are the mothers of the girls who are suspected of bullying Lisa. He figures that they want to intimidate Lisa or bribe her into not saying anything. He asks them to go away since they are legally not allowed to meet the injured, but the women are determined. Their husbands are people with power and money, which makes them believe their daughters can get away with anything. Mr. Kim states that their daughters were the ones who called Lisa to the mountain, but the mothers casually claim that the girls were just hanging out. When the argument gets heated, Lisa asks them to go away because she wants to rest. After the incident, the homeroom teacher Miss Lee meets the school dean. Both of them know very well that Lisa was daunted. To save the school's reputation, the principal wants Miss Lee to transfer Lisa to another school when she returns. He hides his corruption by acting to be worried about the bully's future. After a few weeks later, Lisa recovers from the injuries and can finally walk around. Mr. Kim has tried to ask her about the incident a lot times in the past week, but Lisa hasn't broken her silence. Because of lack of proper clue, the case is handed to some counseling guidance teacher, and the bullies are let free again. One night, Lisa lets the bad thoughts get the best of her. She tries to commit suicide but has to stop when a lady walks into her room. The lady is the counseling teacher, Miss So-mi. So-mi has seen a lot of students like Lisa and helped them live after being disturbed by a similar incident. She isn't like any normal guidance teacher, she was also bullied in school and knows how it feels like to be weak. Hence, she helps her students take revenge on the bullies. At the beginning, she doesn't seem to feel regret for Lisa. She makes her remind the events of the night, which in turn makes Lisa break down crying. When she calms down, So-mi asks her to be alive until she returns again. On the day Lisa is being discharged, she is visited by the leader of the bullies, F. She has brought her new school uniform, knowing that her old one is torn. The girl shows no guilt for almost killing Lisa and tells her she is better off dead. Before leaving, she also intimidates her to keep away from the police. After she leaves, So-mi enters the room, having heard all their conversation. She takes Lisa to her house and helps her settle in. After that, Lisa goes to the block where her mother used to live before her death. She is recollecting about her past when an observer catches her attention. She follows the girl and soon finds out she is her identical twin, Jenny. Lisa tries to reunite with her, but Jenny walks away uninterested. It is disclosed that the girl's parents got separated before they were born. The couple was not on good terms, so the father never wanted anything to do with Lisa and Jenny. But with time, the mother's financial condition got weaker. Hence, she left Lisa at her father's home and started living with Jenny. The sisters never met after the incident and Lisa had to live with her father, who thought of her as a burden. The next day, So-mi follows Jenny to a convenience store and notices her robbery. She stops her outside and asks her for help. Even when told that her sister was almost bullied to death, Jenny remains languorous in the conversation. She only agrees to help when So-mi offers her money. In the evening, the three meet at So-mi's house. She suggests they live together for a week or so until the plan comes to a conclusion. Jenny is not a fan of the idea but agrees to do it anyway. But then, she is told she will have to go to school as Lisa to teach the bullies a lesson. Jenny dropped out of school a year ago. To her, no amount of money is worth going to school again. She denied to cooperate and drops off the apartment. A few minutes later, she gets a video in a group chat. The video is of Lisa getting bullied. A group of girls tear her clothes, nudge her to the ground, and kick her repeatedly while a girl with an abhorrent laugh films everything. This makes Jenny so mad that she returns to the apartment and calls Lisa a timid. The video reminds Lisa of the traumatic night and makes her hyperventilate. Seeing her twin in such a condition, Jenny cannot help but feel bad for her. With much dedication, she asks Somi where she can find the girl with the obnoxious laugh. The following day, she goes to school as Lisa. Her classmates notice the noticeable change in her behavior, but no one pays much attention to her. That is until the group of bullies enters the classroom. The bully ÄÄN furiously sits on Jenny's table and calls her cute for returning to the school. Because of her laugh, Jenny recognizes that ÄÄN is the girl in the video and the one who made everyone else bully Lisa. When the bully starts getting handsy, Jenny slaps her to the ground with a single blow. She then grasps her by the hair and sits on top of her, asking her to laugh again. Following that, she shoots a video of her while tempering her simultaneously. Her friends of bullies can do nothing but retreat in fear. They only stop when ÄÄN interruption. She takes them to a private room to control them, but Jenny isn't someone who obeys the teachers. When she and ÄÄN are alone, she approaches her with a pen, freely threatening to stab her. ÄÄN falters in fear as Jenny calls her out for being unfair to Lisa. Later that day, Jenny returns home and shows Lisa the video of ÄÄN. Lisa doesn't know how to feel about it because she doesn't support cruelty, even when it is projected towards her biggest bully. Somi warns Jenny to not do anything of such sort again because it might get her sister in trouble. The next day is the twins' birthday. They get themselves a cake and bond for the first time in their lives. Lisa tells Jenny how hard her life has been because she never got any kind of love from her parents. Jenny understands with her since her life in poverty with her mother has also not been ideal. The next morning, Jenny is asleep so Lisa decides to go to school on her own. She believes that since ÄÄN was taught a lesson, she won't mess with her again. At school, ÄÄN's mother is with the principal discussing a way to transfer Lisa to other school. The woman is scared that she will try to take revenge on her daughter and wants her gone as soon as possible. A corrupt principal affirms her to take care of the situation. Meanwhile, Lisa overhears their talk from the doorway and runs to the bathroom in tears. There, she bumps into ÄÄN before locking herself inside a stall. ÄÄN, who has been wanting to take revenge, dumps a bucket of water on her. Lisa returns home wet and falls to the ground in debilitation. Somi helps her while Jenny glows red in anger. She directly calls ÄÄN and asks her to come to the mountain if she doesn't want the video of her beating up Lisa on the internet. Scared to be censured of bullying, ÄÄN does as told. When she reaches the mountain, Jenny hits her on the head and knocks her out. On regaining consciousness, her hands and legs are tied and her mouth is taped. Jenny removes the tape from her mouth and forcefully makes her drink a full bottle of water. Then, she brings out another bottle filled with acid. ÄÄN cries for her life which only makes Jenny laugh harder. She pours the acid desperately close to her face but promises to not kill her. By now, ÄÄN can hardly breathe and is crying madly. Jenny unties her legs and asks her to run away if she wants to stay alive. The bully takes the chance but falls a few meters away. Just then, Lisa arrives at the scene and tries to free ÄÄN because she doesn't want any more people to get hurt. Seconds later, Somi follows behind and is shocked at the scene. She scolds Jenny for losing her anger and calls an ambulance for ÄÄN. In the following scene, Jenny is getting interrogated by the police. Since no one saw her with the victim, she is only a suspect. Somi arrives and asks the officers to let her go for the time being. The officers decide to wait until ÄÄN gains consciousness and lets them go. Outside, Jenny claims that she does not regret her actions to the least and would do it again if she had the chance. A dissatisfied Somi leaves her alone and returns home. Right after, ÄÄN's mother attacks Jenny calling her names. Jenny smugly imitates the lady and asks her to laugh like her daughter. While arguing, she also slips that what she did was only a payback. The officers realize she is in fact the culprit. When Mr. Kim calls her by Lisa's name, she lashes out and claims that the Lisa he is looking for is at home. Later, Mr. Kim and his fellow officer are driving back home but Kim cannot get the thought of Jenny out of his mind. He has also noticed a noticeable change in her behavior since she was in the hospital. Suspecting that she has a doppelganger, he drives to her house to check. However, on reaching the place, he finds it empty. Just then, he gets a call from the hospital, informing him that ÄÄN has gained consciousness. She is blathering about someone else being in the scene when she was attacked. A flashback shows us that Jenny was alone when ÄÄN was laying on the ground in the mountains. In fact, Jenny, Lisa, and Somi are all the same person. Till now, every time Lisa was talking to either of them, she was only talking to herself. She never had a twin sister. After being bullied, she was so alone and stranded that she imagined about having someone who cared for her. Soon, the imagination changed into obsessiveness and she developed a multiple personality disorder. Meanwhile, So-mi is an actual person. She is a guidance officer and the only person who helped Lisa, but she never met Lisa at the hospital. Lisa imagined her being there to tackle loneliness and eventually added her to her personality. The court finds out what exactly is wrong with Lisa and she ends up in therapy. She drops out of school and focuses on her mental health. We see a clip of her talking to a therapist about her past trauma in great detail. She has finally healed from it. In the last scene, the real So-mi drops her at the airport. Lisa is flying to another city to start a new life.